Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. And join me today to discuss United's vital 3-1 victory over Villa at Old Trafford is Nigel. How's it going, Nigel?
Not too bad, Kyle. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Absolutely delighted to get 3 points yesterday. And I remember back in October, the last time you were on was a frustrating 2-each draw at Forest. Uh, and you had acknowledged that the week before, Chris was invited onto the show when we got a 4-2 win against Brighton. And you said Chris got a home win and I get a crappy 2-each draw with Forest. So I made sure the next time I'd have you on would be a victory for United. And it very much was so yesterday. And United had to get the points in a Champions League 6 pointer, and they absolutely did that. So, how are you feeling about that, Nigel?
Well, absolutely marvellous, fabulous result. It's putting some a gap between us and the other three rivals potentially, who, let's face it, are not playing well. And an indication is the European results last week, where the English teams didn't do well, and we have all this free time. Now, I heard the manager after the game last night pay great credence to the work of Johnny Evans on these free kicks. We'd seen the one earlier, Kyle, where when Buemo scored from a work corner like that, and apparently Evans had been working with Bruno and Casemiro in the last 10 days, perfecting what actually happened in the game today. So fair play to Johnny Evans. That's what we want, a bit of creativity and positiveness around the club. Great to see.
Yeah, fantastic. Some people had been questioning what is Johnny Evans' role, so we know what that is now. I didn't know that he was a set piece expert. He's just a recently retired player, and he's got straight into coaching, and he's bringing a lot to the table under Michael Carrick, it seems. So long may it continue. And that is the fifth time this season that Casemiro has scored from a Bruno set piece. And that's 7 goals now for Casemiro this season, and that equals his highest tally, which was his first season at United when he also got 7. And he's now scored 24 goals for United, which actually equals Michael Carrick's record in terms of goals for United. So Michael Carrick took about, how many seasons was he at the club? About 12.
Well,
And
yeah.
Casemiro has done that in just under 4. It's a remarkable return for a defensive midfielder, Nigel.
Yeah, well, he has an attacking mindset, and he's won 5 Champions Leagues, Casemiro. So there's no doubt about his quality. And if he gets the right delivery, he can put the ball away. And he showed the fans how much it meant to him. So if he's going to buy out this season, he's going to buy out in glory, and he's certainly producing the goods. And it's wonderful to watch.
And during the game after he scored, and also when he was leaving the stadium, the fans were chanting, "One more year, one more year." Um, Now, there has been some speculation today from a journalist called Graham Bailey, if we just get my notes up here. And he says that Michael Carrick tells Ineos he wants Casemiro to stay at Manchester United, but the Red Devils Chiefs are now willing to open talks with the 34-year-old over a new deal, but the player will have to make sacrifices. But that has been contradicted by Tyrone Marshall from the MEN, who says United have no plans to enter contract talks with Casemiro. They believe that savings of more than 18 million a year can be used to strengthen the squad, with 2 midfield signings planned for the summer. Where do you stand on that situation, Nigel?
Well, I think that decision's already made. I don't see any way that that'll be changed. In fact, I'm sure that at this stage, Casemiro in the month of March is already earmarked where he's going at the end of the season. It's lovely for him to end his stay at this, but economically, it doesn't look viable to me. And playing another 38 games plus next season at a year older, I just don't see it happening. And I would probably agree with the club that he should be released. The money should be saved, and we should get that all that money saved spent on two midfielders somewhere between 20 and 27.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to need to sign possibly three midfielders in the summer if we're going to sell Ugarte as well, which is what we expect. And we're hoping to be in Europe next season, and things are looking good for that at the moment. So if Casemiro and Ugarte going, and I think we're already a bit light in midfield, I think we need to sign three players. Um, but replacing Casemiro's goals is going to be a challenge. Um, Now, obviously, we've been linked with Anderson and Wharton, who don't score many goals, even though they're fantastic footballers. But one player who does chip in with goals, who plays in that area, is Sandro Tonali of Newcastle. And he certainly has the engine to play in the Premier League, and we've seen that at Newcastle. But his agent has, came out with quotes in the last 24 hours or so that when he was asked about the links to City and Arsenal, he said it was always the player's plan to play for one of those clubs when he first arrived in England. And I'm sure the Toon Army won't be too pleased to hear those comments. But hopefully United can get themselves in the frame as well, because I think he would be a fantastic addition if we could get him, Nigel.
Yeah, oh, he's got great talent, and as you say, he's got a great drive from midfield, and he wants to get up and down the pitch. Seems to have a lot of energy. Uh, Certainly an area where we've been under delivering for quite a few years since the great days of Keenan Scholes, who covered some area in the pitch, and he looks like someone that could fit that. But there'll be other clubs. It's all down to money. Money talks these days, Kyle, more than ever in my lifetime in football.
Yeah, and Tonali, going by his agent, is very ambitious. Newcastle ain't going to cut it for him. He wants to play at the very highest level. He wants to be challenging for the biggest trophies. And will he see Old Trafford as the destination to achieve those goals? That's up for debate. Let's see what happens. City and Arsenal probably more likely to win those trophies at the moment, but United's ambitions is always to win the highest honours, and the club have set out a goal that 2028 is the target year to win the Premier League again and get the 21st title, because that would be 150 years since the club was formed. At the moment, do you think that's a realistic ambition, Nigel?
No, I don't. I don't think there's enough quality in the team. We talked about it yesterday, Kyle. The first half was drab and dour, and there was no atmosphere in the ground. The fans weren't into it. I just can't understand from the loss to Newcastle to wait that long before you get on the pitch. If you're a footballer, you should be down to get the shirt on, get back and out from moment one. It wasn't like that. There was no drive, determination. The team looked as if in the first half as if they hadn't played together before. There was something missing. Now, obviously, Carrick's changed a much, much better half, but we're depending on the quality of Bruno Fernandes changing any game, home or away. I mean, that the two assists yesterday, the second one in particular, was absolutely top class, and he now has hit 16 assists, one ahead of David Beckham and four behind. Who is it? De Bruyne and Henri. Now, Henri, I have no time for him because, as an Irish person like yourself, when he cheated in Paris, we'll never forgive him for that. But you and I have had many discussions about Kevin De Bruyne and the quality he brought for 7 or 8 years to that Manchester City midfield. It was an absolute joy watching the guy play, left side, right side. Bruno was at that level now. I mean, he could play for any of the other teams in the Premier League, and it's outstanding to watch how cool he is when he's delivering the forward pass. He sees things 2 moves ahead of most players in England, and it's an absolute joy. He's now joined uh, Giggsy and Wayne Rooney on 100 goals and 100 assists for the club. I mean, that puts him up there in the top drawer. Giggsy played the most times for the club. Rooney has the record for most goals for the club. So the doubters, including me at times about Fernandes, I was more concerned about his behaviour as captain, arguing with referees, and then it put him off his game. He was giving the ball away easily. But at the moment, there's not a better player in the Premier League, and I hope he gets the Player of the Season, Kai.
Yeah, Wayne Rooney himself has said on Match of the Day last night that he believes that there's no better player in the Premier League than Bruno Fernandes right now. And just as you say, Ryan Giggs had 161 goals in all competitions and 249 assists. Um, Wayne Rooney, 253 goals, as we all know, and 131 assists. So Bruno is now on 105 goals and 100 assists in all competitions. And in the Premier League, as you say, 16 for the season. David Beckham got 15 in the 99-2000 season. And I think he showed up on the Sky graphic that Nani was third. That might be might surprise a few people. Um, but Bruno, as you said, he's closing in on the Premier League record, which is set by De Bruyne and Henry, are both on 20 assists. But I mean, at the rate that he's getting them at the moment, he might even beat that 20. The way things are going, and yeah, there's no. I know Arsenal and City are ahead of us in the league, but they don't really have a, a standout player at the moment. And they're getting goals from the defenders and midfielders and youngsters um, at the moment, and they're not I don't think like scoring like buckets of goals right now. I think Semenyo has had a good season both at Bournemouth and City. Apart from that, there's nobody at City that you could really say. Even Haaland has had a quiet season by his standards. Um, you might say Declan Rice at Arsenal, probably their best player, but I don't
Yeah.
think he's been better than Bruno Fernandes.
No, well, Rice is playing in a better team. I mean, look what since he signed in 2020, it's the lack of quality that Bruno had to play with at United makes his stats that much more impressive. Because there was many times in games we saw where he read a move early and the quality we had. Look at Dallow's finish. That ball from Bruno to Dallow in the first half was exquisite, and that's the type of player that Bruno has played with since 2020. There's been very few players who've been able to read his brain and how he is. So it's to his eternal credit. The stats that you called out there for him are reflected in the seasons he's had at Old Trafford. He really the debate about Casemiro is gone, but the debate about Bruno, there shouldn't be a question about it. I want him to see him win a few medals, which he deserves at Old Trafford. If we can get the other players better than what we have at the moment to get a championship, a Premiership challenge underway.
Yeah, you remember that it took Brian Robson quite a while to win a league title right at the end of his United career, and hopefully the same can happen for Bruno Fernandes because that's what he deserves, of course. And I just want to come to a comment from Niall here, who says that Harry Wilson at Fulham has got 10 goals and 6 assists this season. He believes he's Premier League proven, but nobody's talking about him. Is he someone that could maybe beef up United squad in the summer?
Well, he's about 27, possibly 28. I've seen the Fulham games. He's a left-footed player, but he's in top form in the league, and he's total belief that nearly every time he takes the pitch for Fulham, he's going to score, and that's what's happening. I don't know what his fee would be, but he's certainly at that age bracket and with the left foot would be a very reasonable prospect. He certainly should be in the pot when we're looking for attacking players that score goals.
Yeah, that's someone that wasn't really in my thought process, but that's an interesting shout there, Niall. Um, so you've obviously already mentioned the wonderful pass that Bruno played in to Cunha and to play him in behind, but Cunha still had a lot to do, and it brings me back to seeing Alejandro Garnacho in those situations, not scoring one-on-ones, but Cunha was ruthless when he got into that position, and he outpaced Konza, the English centre half, and he beat the goalkeeper. So many times Garnacho frustrated in those scenarios and didn't put away the chances. Um, has Cunha been an upgrade on Garnacho for you, Nigel?
He has, but he doesn't do enough for me yet, Kyle. I mean, that goal was a brilliant goal and he took it really well, but he had the joy of the pass, which was just superb. But I mean, the manager's decision not to choose Sesko and play with the front three he's playing, and none of them really yesterday are playing at the top level that they were in the earlier games against Arsenal and Manchester City. I mean, for me, that was Sesko's 10th goal for the club. You could see the joy it gave him, and he's proven his point. And to me now, he's made a position where he just cannot be left out of the team because we're very static up the front. Mbeumo's got very cold. What do you think?
Yeah, I think when Bimo might be the one to drop out for Shesko now in the next game, if Shesko is indeed going to start, because Cunha has obviously scored in the most recent game. Ahmad, I feel, is the only winger that we have at the club, and if you're going to feed the striker, you need to have a winger on the pitch. So an argument can be made that, and it might do him no harm to drop out for a game, and it might motivate him if he's left on the bench for one match. Because it's certainly when Carrick first arrived at the club, he didn't start Cunha, and he was delivering the goods from the bench, and Chesko has done likewise. So might do Brand the world of good if he's left out against Bournemouth. But let's see what happens. I agree with you. I think Chesko should start that game. But what really frustrated me in the first half yesterday was that all these wonderful crosses were coming into the middle, come from the likes of Cunha and Dallo, and there's nobody there to get on the end of them. So it was just me with United that I've seen games where Chesko has got no service, and then whenever United are finally putting beautiful crosses into the middle, there's no centre forward playing. That gets on my nerves, Nigel. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm very frustrated by that. Time after time, there isn't enough width in the team, and then when you do get the opportunity, now fair play to Dallo. I'm not a fan, as you know, but somebody's been working with him because he curled a beautiful ball away from the goalkeeper that should have been attacked by a centre forward or certainly a forward-thinking player, and those are opportunities. If we can get early goals and get the confidence going, we could score three, four, and five. But the first half yesterday, nothing really happened, and the passing across the back, which you've discussed before on your podcast, is really frustrating, especially in a home game. You've 73,000 people there from all over the world wanting to be entertained, and football's an entertainment, and there just wasn't anyway. I mean, Keno used to talk about the prawn sandwich brigade. Even them, God knows where they are. There's no noise. There wasn't any noise until really when the first goal was scored by Casemiro, which is disappointing.
Yeah, it was boring. It was dull. It was monotonous. There was just nothing happening in the first half. Um, but that all changed when Casemiro got the breakthrough from another Bruno set piece, and it was a fantastic header at the near post, and he flicked it onto the inside of the back post and into the net and down low as well. Goalkeeper had no chance, so it was a wonderful header. And Benjamin Sesko, of course, got the third goal when he came off the bench, and yeah, it was good play by Cunha, beating the fullback. His cross was then cut out, and then Chesko attacked the loose ball, got a shot away, deflected into the net. It was on target, the all count. But I liked the striker's instinct there when he was the first person to react to the loose ball in the box, and that's what you want to see from your number nine.
Oh, absolutely, and he was very lively. By his play, you knew he wanted to prove a point again. How many times does he have to prove a point? The guy was bought for big money, and he can deliver if he's given the opportunity. Now, I said yesterday that he was maybe left out because in the current climate, there's all these people talking about stats, and in the Newcastle game, allegedly he only touched the ball 18 times. But my retort to that is we're not getting people wide enough to get the ball in for him to attack the ball. And there's a lot of kicking between the goalkeeper and the back four when they could kick it long to Sesko, and he's so tall, Kyle, he knocks it on. And if when Buemo or Cunha are left or right, we're well capable of getting goals that way too. He's been underused and underplayed. Let's get him in and see what he can do. 8 games left. Let him play all 8 games and see how many goals he get before the end of May.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like he's going to hit double figures this season. And that's all you can ask for from when a young striker comes in to the Premier League from the Bundesliga. If he's hitting double figures in his first season, can't ask for more than that. And then year on year, you want him to progress on that. But he certainly looks like he's going to get to double figures as it currently stands with 8 games to go, and he's only got one more goals to get 10 Premier League goals. I think, and he obviously has one in the cup as well. And there hasn't been many cup games for United this season, so
Oh,
he's done well to score in another competition because there are only two games in other competitions.
yeah, yeah.
Another thing that we saw yesterday was two players who United were linked with last summer, which was Aston Villa's goalkeeper and their number nine. Um, and what we got instead was Lamens and Shesko, and I'm not disappointed by either of those because for me, Lamens has been a revelation since he's come in. You know, what a signing and what a bargain. And again, yesterday he saved from Onana, which is an interesting name given that Lamens has taken Onana's place. Um, so it's not the first time that Lamens has prevented an Onana, but yeah, that was the only real save he had to make really, apart from the goal, which he didn't really have much of a chance of saving that. And Ali Watkins didn't have a sniff against Harry Maguire and Lenny Yarrow. Now he was played in by Ross Barkley, and Lenny Yarrow made a fantastic last-ditch challenge to prevent Watkins from getting a shot away.
Yeah, that was a great tackle. And Casemiro was awake because he set up a move immediately with a good pass and offensive move started from that really good tackle. And that's what you want, the sort of link between the back four, the midfield, and the forwards. And we have always, United have always played with pace and attacking wing play. And that's very exciting to see what could be ahead of us.
And yeah, Ollie Watkins is 30 now, and Benjamin Sesko still only 22. So United absolutely got that right. We believe Amorim wanted Watkins, and the club went for Shesko, who was recommended by the head of recruitment, Christopher Vale. And United, in the end, went for the young goalkeeper rather than the experienced Argentine. Um, and I think that was the right call too, because again, you're going to get more years out of Lamens. And if we'd have signed Martinez on, we had paid a lot of money, paid him huge wages, he'd only be with us probably about 4 years before we'd have to move him on again. And I just thought Lamens is represented by better value for money. And I think Martinez he's got big mistakes in him, and I've seen him this season and last season make those. Lemans has almost been flawless. I know he's been beaten by a couple of free kicks, but those things happen when you got a really good free kick taker. But other than, he has. Have you ever seen Lemans spill the ball yet? That's and not
No,
once. He's a
absolutely not.
he's a
And he's
very
not
clean
just a
pair of
shot
hands.
stopper. Yeah, the people in front of him now believe they have somebody behind him that can let them concentrate on their own game and not worry, be looking over their shoulder, especially at corners now. He seems to have gone. As you say, he's very, very cool for a young man, and everybody's enjoying his performance week in week. He's on the sheet by merit every single week, and everybody seems to like him. I've heard him interviewed, and he's very cool and calm and complacent. And another thing I always say, Kai, he says he's enjoying his football. If you're enjoying the football, you're not under the pressure. You're feeling you're making a contribution to your fellow players, and that means a lot to anybody in any position, but especially goalkeeper. Because if you let one in, there's nobody about to help you. It's your fault.
Yeah, he's very mature for his age. Eden Heaven was asked, I think it was in an MUTV interview, who's the worst dressed teammate of yours? And he said Sana Lamens because he's in his early 20s, but he dresses like he's in his late 30s. But, and that's
Very good.
reflective of his personality. He's just
Mm.
a wise head on young shoulders,
You
and
sure?
he's been a phenomenal signing. For 17 million. And like last season, we heard that he was statistically the best keeper in the world, and we thought it's going to be a big jump from the Belgian Pro League to the Premier League, but he's just made a seamless jump, and he's not been phased at all. Long may that continue. And I think that was the right decision to sign him over Martinez, and the right decision to sign Shesko over Watkins.
Without
Um,
a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah.
Watkins, I know he's been out injured, but he really struggled yesterday, and he was hooked. which is a sign of how well Maguire and Euro had done against him. And it's really good that Euro is playing a wee bit better now because, you know, during if you go back to December, I think in the reverse fixture, he really struggled, and he was at fault for a couple of the goals that Morgan Rogers scored that day. But
Yeah.
he's recovered his form, hasn't he?
He has. It's great to see. I mean, any young player, and he is very young, can have a blip and a dip in confidence. But playing alongside Maguire, Maguire's helping him, and Maguire at 33 has seen and done it all really in the Premier League and for his country at international level. So no better man for helping the young fella recover. And that tackle was a very confident one now that you referred to.
Yeah, it was. And absolutely vital as well. Because if he gets it wrong, it's a penalty. So
Yeah.
it's certainly not as easy as it looks on TV.
Yeah.
Um, so
The other
yeah,
problem he has, Kyle, of course, he has the guy at right back who won't play right back and drifts into the centre where he's not wanted. He should take responsibility and mark his own man. Well, you saw him yesterday where he's watching the ball and not watching his man, and it's week in and week out. It's very poor. He does do reasonably well at the other end of the pitch, and he's improving with his crossing, but that's not what he's paid for. The number on his shirt says he's right back, and he should take responsibility for marking the people coming the other way on the wing.
yeah. Whenever we're defending, Dallo has a real habit of being very narrow, and it means that the left winger of the opposition team has a lot of space, and Dallo has to rush out to him, or else sometimes he doesn't. He leaves it to Diallo, or
Yeah,
he tucks inside. Yes, he provided some decent crosses yesterday, but he has, as you say, his first job is defending, and going forward, sometimes he can be hit and miss as well. And yesterday is another good example of that. He had a great chance with his left foot, and he spooned it a mile over the crossbar. Do you remember he missed an open goal against West Ham last season? That
he did.
reminded me
He
of
did.
that.
He
He had
did.
no composure in front of a goal, did he?
No, no, but the quality of the ball was fantastic ball, and he time, and he just really had a slice at it, and you saw his reaction afterwards. But that's what I say about Bruno. When Bruno's doing this, he wants some quality somewhere to finish it off. The way Cunha did be fair, what a marvelous finish from a great ball. But all the seasons we're watching Bruno, many times he's played, and the people haven't made the forward run that he expected them to make. So we can only get better if we get the right quality in to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was disappointed with the performances of Brahim and Bumo, which we've touched on, and Ahmad Diallo yesterday. Um, who would both of us absolutely agree that Chesko should start every game, and obviously we want him to start against Bournemouth. Who drops out for you?
Uh, well, Cunha got his goal, so it would be Wimbuemo for me. Yesterday, I think I said a few times that he was lying very deep, and I wanted him in the box. In theory was supposed to be in the middle there, and he just wasn't there. Ahmad's disappointing because he's such a talented footballer and a wonderful left foot and great close control, but he doesn't take people on the way he used to. He seems to have lost a wee bit of confidence himself, kind, and he's passing it back all the time. Remember, he used to turn people inside out and then either go outside or inside, and that seems to have gone at the moment. Whether it's just a lack of confidence when he was left out, when he wasn't expecting to be left out.
I know that he's double marked because the opposition obviously see him as a threat, and maybe that whenever he's faced with two defenders, sometimes he's going to stop and maybe pass it inside. But yeah, you want to see him, take people on and be as exciting as we know he can be. So he's been disappointing recently, and Brandon Bumo as well. And you want to see Mbumo playing. He's not an out and out winger. You want to see Brandon Bumo playing closer to the goal and linking up
Yeah,
with Benjamin Sesko. Um, you know, playing off the front man. But obviously, there's not room for all four of them to play. in this system. So somebody has to lose out, and I think if we're going on form, it's probably Brian Mbeumo who missed out against Bournemouth. But you never know with Carrick. He might leave Shesko on the bench again, and I think that would be absolutely the wrong decision. And I think we have to play with a focal point. Um, and I know you absolutely agree with that. So we get on to the player ratings now before we look ahead to the Bournemouth fixture. So Salah Lamaine's Nigel, just 7 out of 10 every
Seven.
week, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Seven on a good seven, yeah.
This will be interesting. Dallo,
I'd give him a six. That's high for me.
uh, Lenny Yarrow,
Seven.
and Harry.
I think Harry deserves an eight now. He was very dominant, and he's leading. He's leading what's there at the back. He's showing great touch, and he definitely loves the club. I mean, he plays his heart out every game he plays.
Yeah, I think he's willing to take a massive wage cut to get another year. So Luke Shaw,
I'd give him a six. Must say that at least he had a few runs down the left yesterday, more than he did at Newcastle. But he gets very tired. I don't know if you noticed in the second half, he runs out of steam, which is it's understandable because he doesn't have the fitness levels that most have. Do you remember when he signed at 17? What a fabulous player he was. He was never out of the other side's half, sprinting here and sprinting there, one twos. But it's he's coming to the end of his career really. But he's still trying, and he's part of the back four. But I wouldn't expect him to be there in August, guy.
yeah, I wouldn't want him to be first choice in August if we're going to challenge for the highest honours. We need to be signing a younger left back who's got more of an engine than what Shaw currently has at the moment. So that's certainly an area we need to look at as well as the midfield. Um, there's some exciting young fullbacks out there, but whether they can get these players, for example, Lewis Hall at Newcastle, but can we get him out of Newcastle and to Old Trafford? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, he looks
Um,
very good on the ball. That fella, Lewis Hall, very composed. He seems to find space for himself and deliver good forward thinking passes. I rate him. I think he's a good player, Ken.
yeah, definitely. It's weird. Newcastle have had a poor season. Um, they've recovered a bit of late, and they're still in the Champions League, but and they're well below us in the table. Let's put it that way. But yet, there's about 7 or 8 Newcastle players I'd be interested in.
Yeah,
They do seem to have quality players in their squad, despite their lack of form in the Premier League this season overall. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be massive, not just for Shesko in terms of the service that he gets, but also for Luke Shaw. Whenever Patrick Dorgu comes back in the left wing position, we assume that's where he's going to play because that's where he did do under Carrick in the first few games. Because
yeah,
Dorgu can do all the running for Shaw, and he can provide Shesko with crosses. So hopefully after the Easter break,
yeah.
Dorgu will be back on the side, Nigel.
I hope so. We've missed him terribly, and he's scoring goals now too. Goals that we weren't expecting, and he slotted in there as if that was his position. And just when he's getting a run of games and playing well, he gets injured. That's tough luck. But I personally, Kyle, I can't wait to see him return to the first team.
Yeah, I hope he can continue on the form that he was in January, which is phenomenal. Not just the goals he was getting and the assists he was getting, but the quality of the crosses and the goals as well, and in massive games against the top two teams in the league. So yeah, I'm excited to see him get back on the side. I think the 10 weeks will be up by the time we play Leeds on the 13th of April. So hopefully he'll be on the bench that night. So continuing on with the player ratings, then Casemiro.
Hopefully so. Chance. Young Shea Lacey, if he could get in and get a few minutes and build up, he's an exciting player. The crowd will love him because he's like the old school. He likes to take people on and shoot, and the crowd get when they get to know him better. I've seen him a lot for the younger teams, and he really is an exciting prospect. It was so unlucky. I mean, didn't he score a hat trick for the under 21s? And he was really going, and he got an injury for a while. But I want to see him back in the first team squad now, uh, preferably ahead of Tyrell Malacia. I don't see the point at home when you've got a winger like that playing another left back. I mean, Aidan Heavens there yesterday to cover whatever happens. I don't think you need Malacia at home in a game like that.
Yeah, just recently, I know you've been saying for weeks that Shea Lacey should take Molass's place on the bench. So I chuckled whenever I heard another podcaster say the exact same thing. I thought, yeah, you'll feel vindicated when you hear that. So I would absolutely go along with that too. I think what Malasia did against Newcastle, Carrick is entitled to expect more from a professional footballer than that. That was absolutely inexcusable, and he may as well have been invisible for that winning goal. And it's just a waste of a spot on the bench. And
Yeah.
you know,
He looked lost and out of his depth. You know, we must have better than that in the squad at Old Trafford, surely.
yeah, I know United are telling us that Diego Leon is not ready to play in the Premier League yet, but surely he would have closed down the Newcastle attacker there and made it more difficult for him to get a shot away with the left foot because uh, Malacia just didn't do anything, and that was totally unacceptable. He just backed off, and he ran into no man's land really, and
He did, yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Cost us the
Um,
game in effect, you know.
yeah, it resulted in us losing the 10 men for the second time this season. Um, so yeah, like I'm sure Malacia is a nice lad, and I know that he's popular in the dressing room, but sadly he's not good enough to play at this level, and he's really struggled since he had that long layoff. So it's no surprise
Yeah.
that United are
No,
going to be releasing him in the summer.
yeah. No, you make a fair point. I mean, a nice guy and he's committed and all that, but ability wise, you can't carry people like that. You have to have everybody either in the first 11 or the nine on the bench going to come on make a positive contribution. He looked well out of it, didn't he? It was a wee bit embarrassing, really.
Yeah, he was woefully out of his depth. I haven't seen defending that bad for a long time. Especially now at United. I don't even know if you'd see that at Wolves. If I'm honest, it was just I just couldn't believe my eyes. Anyway, back to the
Yeah.
player rating. So Casemiro, what does he get?
He gets an eight, a goal in his general contributions. He was very good, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a pity he's not 10 years younger. Um, so
Absolutely. I wouldn't mind being 10 years younger myself, but anyway, that's another story.
actually, yeah, I would agree with you on that. I wouldn't mind being 10 years younger as well. Um, I think I think once we get to 30, we all want to be 10 years younger. But so Kobe Manu, what do you think about him yesterday?
I thought he bounced back from a poor performance at Newcastle. A seven for me. He did a lot of work. People can see the people that are more flashy around him. He was doing what had to be done, and his distribution was much better, and he looked more like himself. He's a quality footballer. The more I see him, the more I want him to play more often. And yet again, it makes a nuisance of how he was treated under Amram. It was just, we lost Bruno's really full intention because of the fact that we played Ugardian players like that, where nobody trusts, and Bruno couldn't be as offensive. Now he's absolutely wonderful. But Kobe's a good player. Yeah, a good seven for me last night.
Yeah, um, I just want to see him get back to scoring those wonderful goals that he got um, for United and important goals that he got, in previous seasons. So we haven't seen that since Carrick brought him back into the team, but hopefully that will come in time. Um, so the man of the moment, Bruno Fernandes.
Nine, without a doubt, no hesitation at all. Absolutely wonderful performance, top class, two assists, wonderful. totally in charge of the game. What a difference he makes. If he wasn't there, we'd struggle, Kyle. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, best player in the league right now. Um, Ahmad Diallo.
I'd give him a six. I didn't think he had any sort of major input in the game and wasn't as good as he can be. Put it like that.
Yeah, disappointing is the word. So Mateus Cunha.
Well, I'd give him a seven with the goal. Fabulous. He took it so well, but it was nailed on for him by Bruno. But you still have to stick it in. But he's not getting involved a lot, and it's disappointing to see the ball cleared from the back line, be it Yarrow or Harry Maguire, and he doesn't get up and compete with the centre half. He just looks round, lets the guy stand, doesn't even put him off jumping and head the ball. That means the ball comes back and our defenders are under pressure again. You need your forwards working harder than that. It's a team game, and I don't see Kenya working too hard there at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I know it was mentioned last summer that he was top of the walking charts in the Premier League, and you could see that at times this season. Um,
Mm.
but apart from the goal, he did provide a wonderful left-footed cross in the first half,
Nope.
where there
That
was no.
surprised me. Yeah, I give them full credit for that. If they're practicing that, somebody's practicing with uh, Dallo because normally he puts those balls into rosette or way into touch the other side. But that was both those balls were bent away from the goalkeeper, which is the best kind of ball for an attacking player wanting to get a touch to get it in, or a defender knocking in an own goal. So let's see plenty more of that. That's if that's what they've been working on. It's good positivity, and let's see it continue, guy.
To me, if Shesko had been playing in the first half, he could have had a hat trick.
Yeah, I agree with you, without a doubt. Yeah.
So Bram and Bumo, another disappointing performance from him.
Well, if I give Ahmed six, I'd give Mumbuemo five. I think he was the poorest of the front three, as I read it.
Yeah, and only two substitutes brought on. Ugarte very, very late on, so can't give him a rating. That was in stoppage time. Shesko got 15 minutes. So what would you give Benjamin Shesko scoring from the
I'd give
bench
him a
again?
seven. Quite apart from the goal, you could see that he wanted to be in the game, wanted to play, and had something to prove. And I like that in any United player. We demand that level of commitment. And if you're left out, you have to prove if you get even a few minutes to try to change the game and show the manager what you're worth. So yeah, a seven for me, even though he only played such a short period.
Yeah, I suppose the fact that he keeps scoring when he comes off the bench is probably on Carrick's mind when deciding his starting 11, because managers like to have somebody they can bring on that can have an impact on the game or get you a goal, and that's what he does. So none of us know. 99% of United fans want to see Sesko start games, but
Yeah,
Carrick for some reason wants to have him as a weapon on the bench. But nobody wants to be a super sub. Not even Solskjaer wanted that role.
no,
So
no. But Kyle, your point about he could have scored a hat trick, the first half was so stale because any positivity we had, it was looking for somebody in the middle to score, and time after time it just went begging. So that's a reason for me for the manager to make a change. Surely he saw how bad and limited the forward play was in the first half.
yeah, it's okay playing this fluid front three with all these runners when you're playing Arsenal and City, and you're sitting deep and you're playing on the counter attack. Well, against most teams in the league, you need a focal point up front.
Yeah,
Look at all those chances that were created for a number nine that wasn't there in the first half. So for me, he absolutely has to start the next game against Bournemouth. It's not as if the front three are all flying at the moment that did play yesterday. They're not.
no,
Um, and as we've said, Mambumo's probably the worst of those at the moment. So I think it'll do him good if he drops out for one game, and it might motivate him because it's worked with
exactly.
other players.
Now, nobody is saying that Sesko's the finished article. He's 22 years old. He's come from a different league into the Premier League, but he's improving and he wants to play and he has a classy turn there with his feet. And he, do you remember the games where he was getting criticism? I remember Tim Sherwood at Sky giving him an absolute bollocking and who was this player and he shouldn't have been signed. But he's trained well, got in, scored now 10 goals, 9 in the league, and won the cup. And I think it's his time with 8 games to go to let him off the leash, Kyle.
Yeah, uh, Tim Sherwood made an idiot out of himself that night because he said that at half time and Chesco scored twice in the second half. So
Yeah.
you you best not making major judgments like that at half time in games. It always comes back to bite you. Um, so yeah, I think he isn't the first article, as you've said, because he had an opportunity to maybe score a second goal, and for some reason he seemed like he tried to square it to Ahmad. I don't know why he was trying to square it to Ahmad or it was just a wayward shot, but he didn't get it right. And I thought, you're a man in form, you're in confidence, just go
Yeah.
for a goal yourself. But he seemed to play it across to Ahmad, and it wasn't a very good pass. So yeah, so he doesn't always make the right decision. He's still learning, but the signs are very very good. He's really got something about him, doesn't he?
He does, and boy, he can get off the ground. He's got a good spring in those legs, and I enjoy how he celebrates the goal. I mean, he obviously enjoys it, and that's fans love to see a centre forward scoring goals and celebrating, and the midfield getting involved if they have set the goal up. That's what you want. You want excitement in the game. There wasn't an awful lot going until the goals on Saturday for such a big crowd. You couldn't enjoy it. You've been there, and the matches have been stale, and there's nothing worse.
I know. I'm just still full of regret that I went to Amarim's second last game. If I'd have known it was his second last game, I would have held off for a month or two.
Yeah,
You
you
know.
would. Yeah, it's unlucky that. Yeah.
So Michael Carrick, what does he get out of 10?
Another great result in the end. I'd give him an 8. You can't. It's a results business. I always say to you, Kyle. You can't. The momentum's still there, but we've lots to do and build on between now and Bournemouth and Friday night. If he can see as a coach where it didn't go right in the first half, and make changes and bring the centre forward, and start from minute one, get them up for the game. There's far too casual. That business of passing across the back four. We've seen enough of that since Fergie retired.
Yeah, I would go with Shesko up top and drop Mbeumo to the bench and bring him on in the game when Bournemouth are tired and he's fresh. He could be dangerous in that situation. So just on Bournemouth. So in their last 4 games, they've drawn 0-0 3 times, and in the other game it was 1-1. So they're struggling to score goals. They're not in great form. I know the vitality can be a difficult place to go for any side, even Arsenal. But I think this is an opportunity. They've lost the menu, obviously. I think there's an
Yeah,
opportunity for us to go there and get the points on Friday night. And we don't play for another 24 days. So I really want us to win going into this long international break.
absolutely. And the points difference and build a goal difference up by getting a few goals on Friday night. The confidence is a great thing. And winning, see, when you start winning games, people believe. But it was perfectly obvious to me there how much we miss Martinez, not just at the back, but his direction of play and his forward thinking. And he sees people moving and he releases the ball early. You miss players of that quality.
Yeah, and there's a possibility that Martinez could be back in the side on Friday night. Do you think if he is in the squad, do you think he'll start the game, or do you think he'll continue with Maguire and Yarrow?
Well, he'll continue with they're building up their partnership at the back, and I don't think, as you say, with that gap from 20, it's about 20 odd days before the play. Is it Leeds after?
Yeah, it's on a Monday night, so we're,
Yeah. Yeah, I
it's
think
still
he'll give him a few minutes. I can't see him starting the game, no, much as I'd like it, but I could be wrong.
Because he hasn't been out that long, so there's a possibility he could start the game if Carrick really wants him to, and he could be, as you've pointed out, he could be the man to unlock, Bournemouth's defence. So that'll be under
Yeah,
consideration as well when Carrick's thinking about his starting 11. But it would be harsh on young Lenny if he was to drop out because he's playing okay at the moment. But yeah, so United play first next weekend, obviously with having the Friday night game. And
yeah,
with Liverpool, Chelsea, and Villa are so poor at the moment, it gives United the opportunity to open up a 6 point gap before anybody else plays. So I really want us to get the points in this game.
definitely do. It's very exciting, the thought of getting another win and putting the pressure. I mean, I think that's the third Premier League game in a row that Villa have lost. The one in Europe midweek, but as you say, they've been playing very poorly. Chelsea, they're not convinced about the new coach, I don't think. And Liverpool were appalling against Spurs. So the opportunity, if we don't finish third, it's our own fault, Kai.
Yeah, it's just it's an open goal. Um,
Mm.
you know, Chelsea lost at home to Newcastle. Um, Liverpool drew at home to Tottenham Hotspur, the most out of form team in Europe, and
That's what we
and
thought, yeah. Mm.
Aston Villa are just on a real bad losing streak at the moment. So that's why I was confident that we'd win that game yesterday because of their form. And yeah, and so I had to ask you about Una Emery. He's apparently he's on the 5-man shortlist to be the next United manager. But some journalists have been writing today, including Samuel Luckhurst, that he's a manager who's good at a second tier or third tier club, but he's not quite a top level manager of the stature of Guardiola, Ancelotti, or Jurgen Klopp. He thinks he's a level below that because he struggled at Arsenal. He didn't do well in Europe with PSG, but he has done well at clubs like Villarreal, Sevilla, and Aston Villa. What do you think, Nigel?
Well, I think they're harsh when you consider what happened to the managers that followed Fergie. He came in and followed an Arsenal legend, and it was very difficult for any manager to take over there and get the fans on side and the coaches and all that set up all together. He's improved immeasurably since then, and his record in Europe was particularly good. I like the guy. I like the way. Even yesterday, he wasn't going to come to Old Trafford without Watkins playing centre forward. He wanted to win the game if he could win the game. So I like his positivity. I would give him the benefit of the doubt. I like Unai Emery.
Yeah, he's certainly very animated.
Yeah.
He loves to celebrate when his team score. I do love that in a manager. I know Carrick likes a celebration as well. He likes to do a wee dad dance whenever United score.
He
Um,
does. Yeah. Mhm.
but so the 5-man shortlist is Unai Emery. Well, apparently this is what we've been told by the media. So Unai Emery, Oliver Glasner,
No,
um,
definitely not.
no, Areola, the Bournemouth coach,
No.
um, De Zerbi, who was just sacked as Marseille manager, and who was previously at Brighton. Definitely not
Mm.
for me. Very uninspiring list, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Right.
Nagelsmann, the Germany coach, who's previously at Bayern Munich, he's him and Una Emery would probably be the only two that I would consider on that list. So between those 5 managers and keeping Michael Carrick, which option would you choose, Nigel?
Well, you know my view. I mean, we saw the disaster of the time that Ollie was given. I don't want any uh, old man's thing in this decision. As I always say to you, when Ferguson left the club in 2013, the top coaches in the entire world should have been interviewed, and the time should have been taken to interview those that were available. It wasn't up to Fergie to decide that his friend from Everton should take over without having won any major trophy. So we have to get it right. And let's. I would just hold on yet. There's another 8 games now. I'm not going to make a call. Carrick's in the frame. If you count the 2 wins and a draw, in his previous time at the club, and what was it, 22, and now what he's done to date. But he seems a bit timid to me, and he won't make the changes, and he doesn't seem to read who's playing particularly badly and let somebody on. So I have my doubts, but he could sway me yet. But give me the 8 games to make my decision, Kyle.
Yeah, I thought the substitutions against Newcastle were too late, and that definitely marks him down, in my opinion. But and he doesn't like to make substitutions, does he?
No,
Yesterday he only made two, and the first one was after 75 minutes. But I suppose you could argue United started the second half really well, so maybe that's why he held off. Um, but yeah, he's a man he's under pressure to win every game in order to get the role. So every time he loses, it's going to count against him. Um, but he's had a phenomenal record so far. He's one defeat and one draw, and the rest have all been victories. And he's beaten the top two teams in the league in his first two matches,
yeah.
which nobody expected. And yeah,
Well, you
he's
you asked me to give him a rating today, and I give him an 8 on the grounds that it's a results business. So he's in position temporarily there, and he's producing results. So it's going for him that way, and he could prove himself if he wins, say, 6 out of the next 8 games. How could you not give him that opportunity? So it's an open court, and as we discussed the position in the league, we certainly should finish third unless we blow it.
Yeah, he certainly raised expectations now. We're almost expecting to finish third at this moment in time, and it'd be disappointing if we didn't, given how badly our competitors are playing and the fact that we have no European football. So yeah, so if
Absolutely.
he,
And the goal difference, look at the dregs, the stuff we had to watch over the previous two managers. I mean, hey, we're now up to plus 13, Kyle, and that's great to see. And the more goals we score, the better. And it'll help him the more goals we score. I think he's unlucky that Delict and uh, the other fellow we're talking about, the left-footed guy, aren't available at the moment because they looked as if they could be a really good partnership. What do you think?
Martinez,
Martinez, I
yeah,
couldn't remember.
yeah, they would probably be the fans' first choice pairing if everybody was available. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
if they would probably be playing together if they were fit and available. And yeah, so he's playing with basically a second choice centre back pairing at the moment, so and still getting results. That's the important bit. Now the performances have dropped off from the early games against City and Arsenal,
Yeah,
but we're still getting the results, and that's what counts. And maybe the performances have dropped off because one, we've lost Dorgu in that time. More recently we've lost Martinez as well, so that could be a
yeah,
reason why the performances have dropped off.
yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah, yeah. But I mean,
but he,
the players going into training must be enjoying it now. When you're winning games, and you've got so many days, so obviously they're trying things out, and that's good that they're just not going through the motions. Carrick seems to have won them over, and certainly Bruno in his new role where he should always have been playing with Manu beside him. It's totally different now, isn't it? The enjoyment factor is back, and we were hating it in the previous regimes.
yeah, sure. You mentioned the goal difference there. Under Ten Hag and Amram, our goal difference was in the minus.
Yeah,
So it's almost incredible that we're plus 13. We haven't seen that for such a long time. Which
no, it's great, isn't
and we
it? It's
should
wonderful. Yeah,
yeah, it shouldn't be something that we're celebrating, but we are because it's been
yeah,
been so long since we actually saw that statistic. When we're now excited to see the table after every game now.
yeah. It's great.
You know,
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's a pity it's so long between each game, but that's the legacy of not being in Europe. That should be the biggest incentive to get them back on. 38 league games and just a single cup game in the League Cup and the FA Cup is a club as big as us. That's just not good enough. In fact, it's unheard of, isn't it?
definitely. So we've got 8 games left. If as we discussed yesterday during the game, if he wins six, then that should be his home and hosed in third position,
Yeah,
and the momentum will certainly be with him when it comes to deciding who gets the job. But I think there'll be apprehension from Ineos because of what happened with Solskjaer.
yeah.
So,
Well, I can understand that because that was my point about giving me the 8 games, Kyle. I just couldn't make an objective decision now without getting to the end of the season. And obviously, Ratcliffe said to him, "I expect this and I expect that," when he was made manager. So if he achieves what he was asked to do, that's all the better for him, I would say.
yeah, if if we keep playing like this, we finish third, we win 6 out of the 8 remaining games. It's probably his job to lose. So,
Yeah,
but it's a big call for the decision makers at the club. So I look forward to seeing what decision they make. Um, but I've enjoyed our conversation today, as always, Nigel. It's been great having you back on.
no problem. Anytime, Kyle.
So please, everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, smash a like on the video, get subscribed to the podcast. If you're watching live on YouTube or you're listening on Apple or Spotify, and get more of your comments in, guys. And I shall see you again after Bournemouth.
Yeah, look forward to it. See ya.
All right, see you, Nigel.
See ya.